Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Killian. Thanks for having me today in your program here at the Mechanics Institute. It's a building I haven't been in maybe in 20 years, and I'm just going to talk and tell some stories about knowing Harold, and one of them was bringing him here to the Mechanics Institute because I was a member, I came to San Francisco as a grad student. I was finishing my PhD at Eastern University, and my sister was living here in the Mission. She's like, you can live in my apartment. Everything's so cheap here in San Francisco. And, you can stay and there's a room for you. Come and finish your dissertation there. So I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And as soon as I came, I started meeting a lot of poets, and life here in San Francisco among poets seemed like a very different world than the one I left in New York. In fact, it seemed like poets were almost famous people here, so that I was always thrilled walking down the street and somebody would introduce me to whoever. And among these people was little Harold Norse. And I was like 29, I guess, and Harold must have been maybe like my age today, maybe older. How old was he in 1980? Like 70?
Yeah, I've been mid-70s.
Okay. And I had a job, not only writing my dissertation, well then abandoning my dissertation, and plunging into the golden age that Jason was singing about. But I took a temp job, so I had Saturdays off. I could go and visit with Harold. I lived at Guerrero Street in 24th, and he lived on Albion Street,
Yeah.
and that must have been 16th or 17th and what's the next street? Valencia, yeah. So I could just walk over there, and it was handy for him because I was an expert typist and could type like 100 words a minute or whatever you used to have to do in those days. And I had my own typewriter, and I guess Harold didn't, or he had like a manual one, and I had an electric one I could bring over and plug in. You've seen those people. And we wheel around these laundry carts in front of us when we do our laundry. Instead, I would carry around this typewriter and paper stolen from the office that I was temping at, and help him type his memoirs. And it was also glamorous for me because Harold had one story after another of all the fabulous people he had known in his life. He had sold his papers already, I believe, to the, where are they, Lilly Library?
Yeah.
And one thing we would do every week is like, let's see if any papers came in that we can sort through. They'd be like letters from people, people were still writing letters in the mail back and forth. And there would also be like the flyers from like the local Chinese restaurant. Let's put that in. That'll show the people what my daily life was like here in San Francisco. I said, yeah, I think that's a great idea. It was the kind of the poetics of the quotidian that he was after, you know. And so I would type that up like little label, Avery labels, Chinese menu, 1982. As you prepared these papers for the bankrupt, did you see any of these Chinese restaurant menus?
No. Receipts from the Rainbow Grocery and Buy Right Market.
Yeah. Anyhow, we went to, I said, and he was like, I'm so tired of our local library here, they don't have any of my books. And I was like, well, I belong to the Mechanics Institute Library. I was telling them I thought that coming here, I thought it would be a badge of status and I would meet glamorous people here at the Mechanics Institute Library. Well, I certainly did, but all of them played chess. And, but there were a lot of books here that I had never seen. I said, Harold, I bet they have some of your books at the Mechanics Institute Library. He said, you know, I've never been here. I brought him on a Saturday. Are they open Saturdays?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sure enough, he ran right to the section of poetry, looked for his books, and he found 3 of them. He said, this is more than the Castro Library has in my books. I said, that's only because they've been stolen from the public library. So at the time I was starting, I met a lot of young poets my age, and there was really a great interest in gay writing, gay and lesbian writing. It was just bubbling up, and I was like, Harold, now you're gay, right? And I said, well, why don't we have a magazine and we could publish, your current writing, and maybe we could publish part of your memoirs.